Hello, welcome to another episode of Ready Flex Eat This Lose That program. I have a special guest today, and do I have your permission to post this on Ready Flex, on YouTube, on Instagram, and social media,
Sure.
and Facebook for people to learn and change their life, because there is a condition which you're going to talk about, which I never heard of, and really scared the bejeez out of me, because if people have this condition, they need to watch out what they're eating. Otherwise, they'll end up in a psychiatrist's office with multiple medications.
Yeah.
Right? So do I have your permission to post this?
Yes.
Perfect. So having said this, I'm going to let him talk about a special condition he's talking about. Most people will not be aware of this, and quite a few people who are going to watch this video may be experiencing those symptoms and may think that there is something wrong with themselves or there's something wrong with the society. In reality, there may be something wrong inside them, and it could be something to do with the food they're eating that's causing them to have those sensations and feelings, which in turn could put them at harm's way. Tell me.
Yeah. So I have a condition called Hashimoto'S encephalitis, and basically what it is, it's the immune system attacking the thyroid and attacking the brain.
So let's hold on. So he said he has Hashimoto'S encephalitis. What we are aware of is Hashimoto'S thyroiditis. That means it's an antibody that is produced within the body that is attacking the thyroid gland, and that's causing inflammation of the thyroid. And when that happens, some people can have underactive thyroid, and some people can have an underactive thyroid for a long time and suddenly become overactive and then become underactive. So any of these things can happen, and they can develop nodules, and then those nodules can become cancerous. So this is an autoimmune condition, and if you have Hashimoto's thyroiditis, you need to follow up with an endocrinologist and have your thyroid checked periodically to find out if there are other problems that can happen. Now, you're talking about Hashimoto's encephalitis. Explain that.
Yeah, so it's basically where the immune system mistakes the brain as a foreign invader. So it starts attacking the brain. And basically it comes about by eating inflammatory foods. So certain foods like soy, sugar, sometimes cheese, sometimes dairy. For me, dairy doesn't affect me.
So each one is different. For you,
it's different.
Dairy, cheese, and soy, and sugars.
Yes.
Right.
And nuts as well.
Nuts.
Peanuts
Certain nuts.
particularly. Yeah. It causes inflammation in the body, and what happens is the body will get attacked. The immune system either it malfunctions or it attacks the brain, thinking it's a foreign invader. And
So what happens?
It's interesting because at first, when it was characterized, it started off as panic attacks. It started off.
So you would have panic attacks.
Yeah. So like at least 20 a day, and it comes off as depression. It comes off as bipolar, delusion, psychotic episodes. It looks like these things from the outside. And it's funny. I had a family doctor who, I was telling him my symptoms before I was even diagnosed with this, and he was just like, "Yeah, I'm going to put you on these mood stabilizers. I'm going to put you on all these meds and
antipsychotic medications."
Exactly. And I had a twin brother who had this before me, and he kept telling me, he's like, "You don't eat that stuff. That stuff." He kept saying, "That stuff is poison. You have a rare condition where, the immune system attacks the brain." He had it before me, so he was able to break it down and explain it to me. And he was saying that these foods cause inflammation in the body and it attacks the brain. Now, if I would have read that anywhere, I wouldn't have believed it.
No.
Usually when people say, "Oh, these foods release toxins out of your body," it sounds like very hippie. You're not hippie, but like,
it's false. So it's like
these are
it's a gossip or rumors.
Yeah, exactly. Well,
Right.
most of the time,
Unsubstantiated. Yeah.
exactly. These are like buzzwords.
Right.
Like, inflammation. It removes inflammation in the body. But now I know that inflammation in the body is an actual real thing, and it's an actual real problem when you eat these foods. Especially, even if you experience no symptoms, eating inflammatory foods is not good for the body at all. The body's constantly trying to reduce this inflammation.
Right.
And so it started off with panic attacks. It started off with delusions. I thought people were coming after me, so I bought some mace and I would carry it with me, and because I legitimately believed someone was coming after me. I thought someone was going to come to get me. I thought something I had to sleep with the light on at night and I had to barricade my door at night. So I would, not even with like a regular chair, I had to take the big dresser, put it in front of my door every night. I had to drag it and because I thought someone was going to break into the house and then come get me. And then I had to sleep with the light on because I believed that something supernatural was going to come get me. So it was like this weird thing.
Weird things going on.
Yeah. So and then my twin brother.
So how did you find out about this?
My twin brother, actually, he's the one who explained it to me, and he was basically, it happened to him. I remember when it was happening to him, he was having all these panic attacks, and he's a smart guy. He actually figured it out mostly on his own, and so one time he went to the doctor and a neurologist, and this was
the EEG.
He did an EEG, yeah. So he ate a beef jerky, highly processed food, right?
Right.
And this set off the autoimmune to attack the brain. Before he was in remission because he was avoiding the food. Then he ate a beef jerky because he didn't know. And then everything was in slow motion. Everything was, he was extremely delusional. And then he went to the neurologist and they did an EEG to look at his brainwaves, and they said. He said, "You have the brainwaves of an 80-year-old," and she kept saying, "Were you dropped as a kid? Were you like?"
So basically, she was telling him that you are a moron.
Basically, yeah.
She didn't want to say you're a moron, but
Yeah.
she was saying, "Wait a minute, were you dropped as a kid?"
Yeah.
Who is an 80-year-old? 80-year-old, maybe he's developing dementia.
Yeah.
That means you've got signs of early dementia,
Yep.
or you're 80-year-old. So go on.
Exactly, yeah. And so she's like, "Let me speak to your mother. Only a mother would know this." And my mother's like, "No, never dropped as a kid." He's, and she's like, "How were your grades?" And she's like, and my brother's telling me, "I made great grades, And what they later realized, because autoimmune Hashimoto's encephalitis can't be determined by an MRI. It's not detected.
It is not detected.
It's not detected.
Okay.
When it goes ultra full-blown possible. There's a good movie about this, actually. It's on Netflix. It's called Brain on Fire.
Brain on Fire.
Yeah.
Please watch the movie Brain on Fire, Netflix.
Yeah. I could only get through half the movie because at the time I was experiencing these symptoms heavily, and it was literally like a horror film for me. So I was already delusional. I was already paranoid. People were coming after me. I thought that, and the movie was just like a horror film for me, so I couldn't watch it. But I ended up finishing it. It's a really good movie, and it's a really she made the movie because it's such a
prevalent condition, because a lot of people have Hashimoto's, remember?
Yeah. No, you're right, and a lot of people get checked into the psychiatric facility thinking that they have these other problems. She got checked in thinking she had some bipolar or schizophrenia because she was having all these symptoms. You have all these symptoms thinking it's a psychological problem, and because it's not really talked about, people doctors don't have a reference point for it.
No.
There's no real test for it.
I've been in practice for 21 years. I've been through medical school and all that, and never heard anything of this until you presented this case.
Yeah. It's interesting because the only thing you can really test for is increased antibodies,
That's right.
And that could be anything. It could be, it's just attacking your thyroid. But
right. Your Hashimoto antithyroid antibodies could be high.
Yeah.
But but most people I've seen have very high antibodies.
Yeah.
What are you going to do with it?
Exactly. Yeah. So it was a weird time period. This all happened all last year.
So he ate the beef jerky,
Yeah.
and then he had this problem. How long do the symptoms last for you and for your brother?
So so I remember it lasts about a month basically. It takes a whole month.
It takes a month for the brain to recover.
To recover, yeah. And that's a month of strict dieting, like no soy, no sugar. If I have a mishap and eat somehow soy within that month of recovering, it's going to take 2 months.
2 months.
And it's just not.
So it's very hard to live in this world and go out and eat.
Once you realize what you can't eat, like soy, sugar.
But each person could be different.
Each person could be different.
You might be reacting to soy. The other person may not be reacting to soy. That means individual person, each person, if he or she has those symptoms, has to take a book and start jotting down symptoms that happens after each particular food.
Yes.
And they have to figure out which foods are inflammatory for them. Mm-hmm. Because remember, eggs are fine for me. Eggs could be inflammatory to you.
Right.
So wheat could be fine for me. Wheat could be inflammatory too. So that means each patient is different.
Yeah.
That means they have to take notes on each food they're eating and see how they feel.
Yeah.
Good to bad.
Yeah.
And they have to check it out. And so if they start eating good foods and feel good, then those are the foods they have to stick with and stay away from everything else.
Yeah.
Am I right in saying that?
100%. Because I can't do nuts, but I can eat eggs. I celebrate the things that I can eat. As long as it's not attacking my brain, I'm so happy. And yeah, I can't eat sugar. Big deal. I have my brain. I'm ecstatic about that.
See, there's a saying: if you want to live long, adopt a chronic illness and take good care of it.
Yeah, it's very true.
So now you are so aware of it that to you, your brain is more important. So you want to be making sure that your brain is functioning normally. You want to make sure that you have good thoughts. You want to make sure that you're able to sleep well. You want to make sure that you're confident and you're able to think clearly. So for you, that has become a priority. So in order to achieve that, you are willing to give up everything that is going to affect or damage the brain.
Yes, 100%. 100%. I won't even touch it. I won't even, people say, oh, just try it. A lot of people think
You're faking it.
Faking it, yeah. When they say, oh, it's just placebo. Oh man, that it's not fun to hear that.
No, I know.
But you learn to kind of write it off like, oh, it's understandable. Like my parents don't even believe me. Even till this day, they don't believe me. They don't believe my brother, even though his seems to be progressing. But
easy as strict as you are with diet.
He wasn't previously. Now he's pretty strict about it. So I mean, I don't know what's gonna happen then. But you tend to write it off.
Because there are some chemicals that can mess with your brain, and there are some conditions like yours, autoimmune condition, where you have inflammation in the brain that can still mess with your brain. So your goal is to make sure that there is no inflammation in the brain ever, because the more inflammations you have, you don't know how much damage you're causing to the brain. And down the road, if you cause so much damage that you may have partial dementia or Parkinson's, what are you going to do?
Yeah, no, you're 100% right, because it was mimicking dementia and Parkinson's, ironically, because I would have these twitches, involuntary twitches, where I'd constantly be twitching, and I couldn't remember what the last day was, because it was, I don't know, I mean, it's because the brain is so inflamed, it's getting attacked, and you don't remember what you ate, and day by day, you're just, everything is like a blur. Everything felt like a huge fog, like intense brain fog, where I couldn't even see across the street. It was just, I was so caught up in this fog. It was so weird thinking about it, But it was just so bizarre. It was kind of, in a weird way, I liked it because there were less thoughts. I don't know how to explain that.
But I understand. Because you were not disturbed by a lot of thoughts.
Exactly. Usually, you have this ruminating brain where it's it's like a washing machine full of thoughts, just spinning and spinning.
Most people have, on an average, 80 to 90,000 thoughts, and 80 to 90% of them are negative.
Yeah.
This is based on statistics. They talked about 80 to 90,000 thoughts in a day, and 80 to 90% of them are negative. Now, if you can clean them and have one or two thoughts and have stillness of the mind, it's an amazing experience.
Yeah.
But most people can't even comprehend that.
Yeah. Well, I have a theory on that. I think we're addicted to our thoughts. So we're addicted to a lot of emotion.
Because we have never been taught how to train our brain.
Yeah.
We have never been taught how to improve our brain, and we have never been taught how to train our mind and how to regulate your thoughts.
Yeah.
Once you understand that you can, like training a dragon, train your mind. You can train your brain. You can change your brain. You can regulate your thoughts, you can control your thoughts, you can delete your thoughts, you can delete your experiences, and you can improve your brain. Once you know that this is possible, then you have to actively work towards it. But since nobody has ever brought this up, nobody even knows how to handle a brain or your mind. So if you have never even been taught or trained, you will never know. And the brain and the mind is amok. It's running amok. It's doing what it wants to do the best. So you're lost. So you never, all your life, ever understood that the brain is a tool that can be used, and the mind is an equipment that can be trained and put to action, but you've never done that.
That's 100% right. And what's interesting about that, the phenomena of autoimmune encephalitis or any type of autoimmune condition is the brain and body have a symbiotic relationship with each other. Had you would have told me foods affect the brain, I would have prior to this, I would have never believed you. Like, what are you talking about? Gut bacteria affecting, causing depression, anxiety?
That's right. You would never. Now you believe it.
Yeah.
Gut bacteria does affect your brain. The change in gut bacteria does change your brain, and your body, the foods you put in your body, have an impact on your brain.
100%. Yeah. For whatever reason, it's almost in a weird way. We kind of think we have 100% free will. I have 100% free will, but
we don't know how to. We have the choice and free will, but we don't know how to exercise the choice, and we don't know how to use the free will in the right way.
Yes,
and that is a problem.
Yeah. Yeah, but it's funny. We think we have 100% free will, but then there's these little bacteria in our bodies
they will also control. Yes.
Yeah. And
that's why eating the right food and propagating the right bacteria also goes a long way, because if you have the wrong bacteria, it is going to make you gravitate towards the wrong food, which in turn is going to cause more inflammation, which in turn is going to affect your brain, which in turn is going to make you feel miserable.
Yeah.
And the cycle continues and the life goes on, and before you know, 10 to 15 years have gone,
Yeah.
and the best part of your life has been destroyed.
Yes, 100%, yeah.
So what is your advice to our viewers?
My advice is to do some research. I mean, just learn the relationship between your body and your mind and food. I don't know who said this, but I don't know what the quote is, but health starts off in the gut. I don't know who it was. I don't know if it was Socrates or one of those guys, but it does start in the gut. These foods, they kind of, it's like an oil for your car. You don't want to put bad oil in your car. You want the engine to be robust and keep running. And in the same way, but we don't look at it like that. We think, I feel fine, so you're eating a cheeseburger. I feel fine. I'm healthy. I haven't gotten sick in a year or two. I feel fine. But in the background, what's going on is there's a lot of things that the body's trying to maintain homeostasis. It's trying to reduce inflammation. It's trying to keep your hormones at a certain level, and then eventually you get hit with high cholesterol, a heart attack, diabetes, and you're like, I don't know what happened, but it's kind of like a credit card in a way. You're swiping the card, and eventually someone has to pay that bill, and you're going to end up paying that bill.
That's a good way of putting it.
Yeah.
And in the end, you are paying the bill.
Yeah.
And also remember, brain won, but your gut is where your second brain lasts.
Yes.
That means that is also a brain. And what you ingest, what you put in the gut has a huge impact on the gut brain, on the gut bacteria, and your brain. So, folks, I hope this is a good introduction for you to learn about your second brain, to learn about your first brain, and to learn about the importance of food, the right food, and learn about the importance of inflammation in the body. And also we discussed about Hashimoto's thyroiditis, Hashimoto's encephalitis, and once you develop an autoimmune condition, there is no telling when the autoimmunity can change its focus from the thyroid and brain and go after your joints and lead to rheumatoid arthritis, go after your vasculature and cause lupus, can go after your liver and cause autoimmune hepatitis, it can go after your gut and cause Crohn's disease, ulcerative colitis, irritable bowel syndrome. Any one of these things can happen because of autoimmunity. So once you have already unleashed the genie, there's no telling what it is going to do next and which organ it's going to attack. So the best way to contain that, you can never eliminate it, but best way to contain that and suppress that is to 1. Master sleep. 2. Unload stress. 3. Eat the right non-inflammatory food for you. That means my food may not be the right food for him, his food may not be the right food for you, but you have to figure out what is the most rightful non-inflammatory food where it makes you feel good or excellent all the time. And rule 4, eat something that will improve the gut bacteria. That means eat some fermented food to protect the gut. These are the 4 key rules that you need to do if you want to suppress inflammation and prevent worsening of your autoimmune condition. Once again, master sleep, unload stress, eat right, and protect your gut bacteria by eating the right kind of food to let them flourish, and also protect them to make sure by eating different types of fermented foods. Thank you.
I agree. Thank you.